Hey, it's cryptocurrency time with the Crypto Lark. Welcome to the show, everybody. It is the Crypto Lark. We're breaking down all of what's going on in the market and so much more. Some quick channel updates before we break down what we're going to talk about exactly today. I've got some really exciting interviews coming up for you guys. This week we're going to be talking with the guys from Digibyte, Theta, Horizon State about what they're doing in Indonesia in particular, the guys from Ambit Mining, and the guys from Origin Trail. So it's a pretty exciting week for interviews. And next week, I'm going to be sitting down with Blockchain Brad to get some of the latest tips on what is going on. That guy is always on top of the newest, most exciting projects coming out in the space. I'll also be talking to the guys from Proppy and from Data Wallet. Welcome, 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 everybody. Welcome, Spencer. Welcome, Nigel. Welcome, Mike, Sid, David, Andres, Coin Grinder. Welcome, 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 everybody. Mr. Halazani, Brian Cave. Great to see you guys all out today for a chat about cryptocurrencies. It's a good time as always. Now today, I wanted to actually go through a little bit of kind of what's going on with some of the top coins in crypto at the moment. I also want to talk a little bit about the idea of tokenize everything. So we'll break that down a little bit too. And then the second half of the show, we're going to be talking about some of what I see as the Plemiak, you're back. Holy cow, I've been seeing you for ages, man. Sterling, welcome to the party. Randy, how's it going? Welcome, 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 everybody. And we'll be talking about some of the most promising ICOs that I see happening anyway in the near future. So we're breaking all that down for you guys and much, much more. Now, I want to start off by talking about really just some of the top coins in the market and what they've been doing, my kind of thoughts about them at the time, and of course we'll be answering some of your questions as we go through as well. Bitcoin. Oh, Bitcoin. $9,398. This seems really exciting, but you have to remember, we were at around $20,000, guys. So the market's still at half of the value that it used to be, which is crazy. So we still have a lot of room for growth. And on the one hand, I feel like, I wish I could have bought more when it was lower, but it's still actually pretty low when you really think about where all of this stuff was just very recently. I mean, NEO was up around, 150, 160, for example. Obviously, Bitcoin's at 20,000. Ethereum was up to like 13, 1400. Thanks, Mr. Harilzani. He says he loves the shirt. Yeah, this octopus shirt is awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So we still have so much movement going forward for Bitcoin. Of course, I think we're not only going to return to the all-time highs in the coming months, but actually move beyond the all-time high previously and create new all-time highs, which is very, very cool. As Spencer points out, there has been a lot of bullish news coming out recently. So many different financial institutions looking to get into crypto. So many different just positive regulations, more companies, more countries getting involved. Tasia asks, which would be the best coin right now to go with? My advice for the best coin right now to go with will be the one that you've done your own research on and believe in. Don't listen to anybody on the internet just telling you, hey, go buy this or go buy that. You got to do your own research. You got to find the stuff that you like. But I'll be sharing my thoughts on the top 50, but just, I suppose, a thought for you. There is some really great stuff outside of the top 50. I just made a top 10 video the other day on some of the low cap coins. And it's really so much gold down there. Things like Electrify Asia or Hackin, for example. Really, really great stuff down there, a bit farther down the list. These guys at the top, though, we still see a lot of potential. And that's what I find really interesting. You see, you've been in crypto a while when you look at Bitcoin and you go, I can only double my money? Boring. Why would I want to just double my money when I can 10x it? So that is, of course, what you look at when you see Bitcoin. And I think a lot of institutional money is attracted to Bitcoin and to Ethereum because of their relative stability in the space, if you can even say their stability. What do you think of Typerium? Never heard of it. Sorry. Ethereum, $685 at the moment. I think Ethereum has got a lot of great potential to grow moving forward. Potentially $2,000 by the end of the year if we see some really exciting developments happening. Obviously, we will be seeing a situation here in the near future where there's going to be some really big shakeups for Ethereum coming. Proof of stake is coming, not to mention all of the different things that are being worked on. We have different companies working on side chains, for example, which is very exciting. And obviously, we've got to have so many different options for how to make Ethereum work better, right? We're going to have sharding, we're going to have side chains. Even the guys over at Sonam are working on a side chain for Ethereum, which is really cool. And of course, then we have off-chain scaling with Raiden, which is also very, very cool. Now, Plemiak says he's very bullish on Ontology. I have done a video on Ontology. We will be talking about that in a minute. I'm just going to go through some of the top coins here and share my thoughts with you guys. See how far we get down the list, and then we'll chop over to talking about tokenization of everything. Ripple's still number 3, which is, I guess, unsurprising considering it's got a $34 billion market cap. And there's a lot of volume, there's a lot of interest in Ripple from people, so that's kind of cool. Plemiak says he's been subscribed since number 450. He was like the 450th subscriber. It was crazy, Plemiak. That was a long time ago, man. It really, really was. That was a wild time way back then. Certainly a lot has happened since then, but here I am still talking about cryptocurrencies on the internet. I love it. It's amazing to have your hobby become your full-time job. Anyway, I know there's still a lot of public interest in Ripple, but it's just never been a coin that's resonated with me. But it still keeps getting a lot of investment money put into it. What are you gonna do? Bitcoin Cash. I've been really disappointed with Bitcoin Cash recently, and it's not because I don't think that Bitcoin Cash is bringing any value to the ecosystem. I do. I mean, they're developing some interesting stuff. I mean, they're going to have 32 megabyte blocks. They can't even fill up a 1 megabyte block at the moment, but they're going to have 32 megabyte blocks for some reason, and all these other different features that they're planning to bring into Bitcoin Cash, which that's cool. I love that. The thing I hate about Bitcoin Cash right now, or maybe hate's too strong for it, but the thing I really dislike about Bitcoin Cash at the moment is their continued deception that's going on by using the Bitcoin Twitter handle, by using Bitcoin.com, and constantly going out saying, well, this is Bitcoin, right? And actually, there's new people coming in who are going to believe that that is Bitcoin. But the reality is that the hash power and the market has said otherwise. And they can keep denying that reality, but the longer they deny it and the longer they attack Bitcoin, the worse it is for them. Because Bitcoin Cash can be Bitcoin Cash, and it can be a very valuable project that adds so much to the cryptocurrency scene, but they're not trying to do that. Well, they are, but they're going about it the wrong way. So anyway, a lot of people in the chat asking about Banyan Network. Banyan Network is a sleeping giant. It's going to be one of my next reviews coming up. I'm not sure it'll be the next one or maybe next week or something, but it's definitely coming up here in the near future. So very interesting project, Banyan Network. EOS. Holy cow. This has absolutely popped. Recently, it's up like 100% in the last 7 days, or about there. And so it's very interesting to see the massive growth on EOS. I think a lot of people are getting that real FOMO for it. I mean, we did have that run up before the EOS DAC snapshot for the airdrop, but then it just kind of kept going after that. It didn't really slow down very much. Obviously, the Korean markets are having a big effect on coins like EOS. This is one of those projects, when they deliver, and this is the important thing, when they deliver, you have to remember right now EOS is still an ICO. It's still an ICO, guys. And it's going to be an ICO for another month. But when they stop being an ICO and actually start delivering and we get a mainnet for EOS coming, when we see that, well, then there's definitely some real upward potential. But I would not be surprised anyway by a bit of a dip after this massive run-up that we have seen recently. But demand is very high for EOS right now, and there is some, obviously, I think people think that EOS is going to be the next big thing. It does have a lot of potential, and they've got a $1 billion+ war chest of Ethereum sitting there, which is pretty awesome. Not to mention, of course, the people behind it. They got a lot of money to throw around, so we'll see what happens with EOS. Cardano. Oh, good old Cardano. Man, I really just love Cardano. I cannot believe it was only 15 cents again, like 2 or 3 weeks ago. That's crazy. I hope you guys were able to get in there and get some of that sweet dip when it was going around. But remember, Cardano was well over $1 only a couple of months ago. And yeah, it's one of those higher market cap coins, so there's not as much gain potentially. Might only 5x your money on Cardano or something like that in the short to near term, right? But what are you going to do? Fedro says, a sad face, I sold my Cardano at 20 cents. Yeah, I didn't, sad face, I didn't sell mine at like $1.20 or whatever it got up to, but I'm kind of long term on Cardano. I'd like to see where it's at in 2 years or something like that. So I don't even consider selling it yet. It's a long hold for me. Next up, we have Litecoin. Litecoin continuing to do pretty well, continuing to stay in the top 10, which is very nice, back up to $150. I did a video a few months ago for you guys, or I think it was a few months ago, saying that, well, we actually might see the potential for Litecoin to be a $1,000 coin by the end of the year. And that's going to take a lot of movement in the market cap to actually get us there. But it could definitely happen. There's a lot of support and enthusiasm for Litecoin. Will it catch on, though? I think is one of the interesting things. So we'll have to see about that going forward. Stellar Lumens, a project I'm super bullish on. I love Stellar. I think it's such a great competitor to what the other major contract platforms are doing. And so that's really cool. Very cool, Stellar. It's kind of, the cool version of Ripple, where everyone kind of universally reviles Ripple, even though they might like to make money on it. Everybody's kind of like, oh, Stellar, that's cool. We like Stellar. Perceptions, of course, are important. Neo back up to $92. Remember, this is well over $150 recently. It's going to get there again. This is going to be one of those big coins. Look at right now, if it could only get to Ethereum's current market cap, and let's just imagine a year from now, the total market capitalization of cryptocurrencies are at $10 trillion. Just imagine where some of these top projects are going to be. Neo's not going anywhere. Stellar's not going anywhere. Cardano, EOS, Ethereum, they're not going anywhere, guys. So there you go. Definitely these projects at the top. You may not get the sickest of gains from them, but there's a lot of potential. Tron. Oh, Tron. It's one of those divisive coins that some people just love Tron, some people just hate Tron so much. I don't really, love or hate Tron, but one thing I can definitely say about Tron is that I like the idea of decentralized media and giving power back, and so that's really cool. When I read the Tron white paper, I thought, you know what? If they can pull it off, this would be really cool. And this could really add so much to the cryptocurrency space. And I know a lot of people out there say, Tron's a scam, it's just a giant scam. I really do not believe that for a moment. If you look at Richard Ma and Justin Sun, they're not going to put their whole reputations on the line for this. And yeah, it's a lot of money. They'd make a lot of money for that. But they would just never be accepted in society again. And obviously Richard Ma hasn't distanced himself from Justin Sun, who was his protege, right? And Justin Sun, love or hate the way they market their coin, they are doing what they are doing. And if that's always the question, if they can pull it off, I think Tron can add a lot. But man, you gotta really wait for that. I think it's way overvalued where it currently is, considering that we don't really have a lot of stuff yet. It'd be great to see that. But yeah, I feel like right now Tron's just massive speculation. Like a lot of these crypto assets, they are way overvalued for where they are at the moment. Okay, next up, IOTA. IOTA, $5.6 billion. Not too bad. Remember when IOTA was like 25, 30 cents? That was a long time ago. IOTA, obviously there's been some drama around IOTA over the past couple of months, but a lot of people saying Justin Sun is a scammer. I do not think Justin Sun is a scammer, but hey, time will tell. Crypto numbnuts in the house. What's going on? Oh, Michael James. Richard Miles Quanstep. Well, I forget that guy's name, though, but the guy who was the mentor of Justin Sun, can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he's the giant businessman in China. Jack Ma. Thank you, Patrick. Jack Ma. There you go. One of those guys. Anyway, there you go. Okay, on to our next one. Monero, the coin that you're probably mining right now on your browser and you don't even know about it. And, of course, the go-to coin of choice for a lot of silly work, we could say, on the internet. A lot of people saying Justin Sun, not a scammer, he is a marketer. I'm telling you, if you want somebody running your business, get somebody who understands marketing. You can hire the devs to do the work. You don't need the Dan Larimers of the world behind every project, but you do need them sitting at their desks. You don't need them as the front men, necessarily. Dash has been about 1,300 previously, currently down at around 500. There is a lot of people out there who are excited about Dash, and there's a big community behind Dash. So it'd be really interesting to see the recovery of this. Obviously, they're getting more and more coverage all the time because they do have that big war chest where they can just keep throwing money out for advertising and sponsoring different things. And so a lot of exciting stuff there. Our old boys, NEM. Now, NEM, they have been getting a lot of new projects being built on top of NEM recently. Their community fund, I think, has brought in a lot of new business. 4,000 transactions per second with Catapult, which is pretty good. Will it be enough? That is the interesting question. VeChain, wow, $2.5 billion for VeChain. That's crazy. When you look at VeChain, I would say start looking at the competition because VeChain's great. I like VeChain. Very cool stuff. But what they're doing is being repeated by other projects. K Bosslice, WTF is NEM? I never hear about it. I talk about NEM enough. A lot of people don't, though, because NEM kind of isn't... They haven't been pushing themselves, I think, enough. They have more recently, which is good, but nevertheless. Now, if you want to invest in VeChain, that's cool. VeChain's a very solid project, and hopefully you were able to get in quite a while ago, and you get one of those sweet masternodes, for example. But I would look for the competitors. I just did a review on Seal Network, and that is a very promising looking project. And if you can get in at the ICO, well, you might be able to have such a situation where something like Seal Network could be a big competitor, or, there's so many out there that are actually going to be working in this space. Think about how many logistics or supply chain or authenticity companies there already are globally. Some people say, well, there's already one blockchain project doing that, therefore there can be no more. No, there can be so many, guys. There can be so many, and there will be so many. So instead of going for VeChain, I would look a little farther down for some of the competition. Origin Trail, a lot of people are saying. I'm excited to do my chat with the guys from Origin Trail coming up here in a second. Patrick Lim says, give me a 30-second elevator pitch of NEM. NEM is mostly a business-focused blockchain, but they're working to bring in a lot of different projects at the moment as well. Now, I think one of the things, they've got the 4,000 transactions per second. We've got Smart ID, apostolization, super easy token building. You can start a token on NEM in like 5 minutes, which is pretty cool. Obviously, you have to have someone to buy that token, but it's super easy to actually start a mosaic. The big thing that I dislike about NEM, though, is their harvesting system. So that is their proof-of-stake model, and I don't think it is very robust compared to some of the other proof-of-stake models. You basically have to have a gigantic stake to ever get anything out of NEM proof-of-stake, which is unfortunate. But as a speculative investment, can you see NEM get to $2? Absolutely. Just a question of time. They're a very solid company who've been developing some very solid stuff, usually quietly, but they're starting to get a little more vocal at the moment. Tether, we're skipping. Ethereum Classic. The unforked version of Ethereum. It'd be interesting to see how Ethereum Classic develops over time. Obviously, there are a lot of people who are very enthusiastic about Ethereum Classic, people like Charles Hoskinson, for example, and they've been working very closely with Ethereum Classic in order to get, for example, Ethereum Classic onto the Daedalus wallet, which is pretty cool. So this is one that, when I first looked into it, I was like, I don't know, we really need to see some big time development coming in. I'm not really convinced at the moment, but then there has been a lot more push recently. In the past few months, there's been a big push behind Ethereum Classic, so it is kind of getting that big push at the moment. Chuck A says NEM is the network behind PundiX. Yeah, PundiX is going to be massive. They just dropped 20,000 point of sale terminals running on NEM. So that's pretty big stuff, guys. We're getting some real adoption for the NEM blockchain through projects like that. Quantum, I think, is still a really good buy too at like $23.5. By the way, of course, not professional financial advice, guys. All this stuff is just my opinions. Quantum, $23.50, really good price. I think this is one of those ones could easily hit $100 by the end of the year. Pretty low circulating supply. And of course, a lot of dApps being built on top of Quantum at the moment. And a lot of them are being built kind of quietly in the background, but there's some really exciting ones that are coming up. There's some ones that are kind of cool, like Vanyware, which is coming up. But there's some really cool stuff like Certic, which is coming up in the next few months. And those are ones kind of keep a bit of an eye on, because those could be some very promising dApps in the future. A lot of people saying, what do we got here? Substratum, Apex, Red Pulse, INT, Agrello, Lastos, all the coins, Electronium. Henry asks, hey CryptoLark, what do you predict for the future of Electronium? They have more exchanges and users since last time, and they did all right without exchanges, and they have interesting things going. I wasn't very impressed with Electronium when I did my ICO review of them. I haven't really been impressed with much since for Electronium. I know that if you did invest in the ICO, you were probably able to make a pretty decent return on it, as I think the tokens went for like a cent or something during the ICO. I don't remember exactly, but the people who got in did well. I've never really been impressed by Electronium either. It's kind of one of those ones that I put in the same category as Verge, for example. A lot of hype, not too much to it. But hey, that's my opinion, guys. Omise Go, $18. Wowzers. That has got big recently. I cannot wait for Omise Go to start delivering. This is going to be really exciting when Omise Go finally starts rolling out their project here. This is going to be super cool. Obviously, they're making amazing partnerships. They're super close with Vitalik, and they've got a lot of other good projects working behind them, like Electrify Asia, for example. Going to be working with Omise Go, helping bring power trading to Japan. This is one of those projects that's really, in my mind, kind of a top crypto project. Is it still a good buy at $18? It's decent. Obviously, picking it up a couple months ago would have been way more valuable in the long run, but it is where it is today. Spencer, OMG. Icon, back up to $4.69. Remember, guys, this was at $10 recently, and was also at $2 recently. Where did you buy at? That's the interesting question. I wish I had bought more at 2. I always do. You see these opportunities, and I got to pick up a little bit more when it came back down to like $2.50, whatever it was. But man, this is one. It's going to be $10 again, probably in the relative near future. But even $10 would only put it at a 3.6 approximately. Well, let's say right around a $4 billion market cap, which is pretty small when you consider the scale of Icon and the potential for this to really shake things up and do exciting things in the crypto space. Could it be a $40 billion market cap? Yeah, I think so. I think Icon is going to be a top crypto asset and will really stay in the top 50 for basically ever. I mean, hey, you never know. Things can happen, right? A lot of these investments are still speculative. You just can't predict the future, but this could be $100 coin in a year's time, for example, assuming that, of course, we continue to see that amount of money flowing into the crypto markets as we see and as much as is predicted to come in to the crypto market. So we shall see. Binance coin, they keep burning their coins, and that keeps, of course, moving the price up. And of course, the amount of business that Binance is doing is just crazy. Currently, they're just crushing all the competition exchange-wise. And I actually did a poll yesterday, or just a general question yesterday on Twitter, like, hey, what do you think the biggest competitors to Binance would be? And actually quite a few people said, well, nobody. But at the same time, there will be competitors. Obviously, we're going to have the Neon exchange coming, which will be pretty big when it gets going, of course. Binance is way ahead of them at the moment. Huobi, also a pretty decent exchange, actually. I appreciate using Huobi. Maybe Bbox, for example. Obviously, Bithumb is going to be launching their own coin. So there is going to be a lot of competition, but Binance just keeps being a step ahead, which is cool. Lars says, cause could be with fiat soon. Interesting. ONC Doc, do you still think Smart Cash is a viable project? Interesting question. I still think it's a viable project, yes. But is a smart node worth it? Well, it's certainly one of the cheaper smart nodes. I've never pulled the trigger on one, though, which is, I suppose, telling to an extent. You know, I quite enjoy PivX, for example, and that's kind of like a long-term goal, getting a PivX master node, because, man, they're not cheap. They're not cheap, guys, let me tell you that. But definitely, I feel like there's so much more community support there, but at the same time, Smart Cash is one you shouldn't count out. They've got a lot of community. They got a lot of people who are using Smart Cash, so something to keep in mind. Christopher Johnson, thanks for the contribution. YoLark Nebuleo starting to get some recognition. They have a product, clean academy, and support for 8 languages? Question mark. I don't know if they do have support for 8 languages. Honestly, I cannot remember exactly. It's been a while since I've looked at the website. Are you a fan of it for this summer? Nebuleo's decent, guys. I got nothing bad to say about Nebuleo. They've been developing nicely, so you know you can keep that in mind. But you know, as always, you got to go out and find the projects that you like, guys, which is important. Which is very, very important, of course. Now, next up we have Lisk, $12.85. Not bad. Can we see Lisk get up to $100? Well, that's an interesting question. But certainly the guys at Lisk are not, you know, sleeping in their beds doing nothing. Those guys are busy, getting all over the world, going to conferences, but also developing at the same time. I remember when I saw Max at Token 2049 in Hong Kong, he said, well, you know what, the one thing we need to do, guys, stop coming to conferences all the time and just stay home and build stuff. It's not surprising. Not surprising what you do. But that's pretty cool at the same time. I like the whole idea, like, hey, let's just build, guys, and then the markets can decide the rest. We don't need to be coming out and, you know, having these chat sessions. Conferences are good and they're bad. So what are you gonna, you know, it is the way it is. But I like the Lisk Academy too. Lisk Academy is certainly very, very cool. Okay, we're gonna go down to number 25 here, and then we'll switch over to talking about tokenization of everything. Pedro says Lisk is outdated. You know, it's amazing that so much happens so quickly in the cryptocurrency space that, yeah, it's very quick to have other projects just come out of nowhere and just jump right past you. And that does happen to some projects. Some projects that really had a lot of community support, but just didn't get there. We're going to talk about that in a minute, though. Bitcoin Gold. Still not a big fan of Bitcoin Gold, but they are still around at $77 a piece. Zcash just hanging in there, doing its thing. Will we ever see I think it was like $4,000 or something for Zcash at one point? I don't know. I don't think so. I think there's a lot of better privacy coins out there that are more utilitarian than Zcash. But nevertheless, it has stayed a strong coin over time. And Eternity finally making up to position 25 at 474. Not bad, Eternity. Not bad. It's certainly gone through its ups and downs, but it's doing pretty decent at the moment. You kind of remind me of Corey Feldman. Fascinating. Waves was exciting last night, still holding on for some time already. Yeah, and let's go through and make a few quick comments, because there's so much exciting stuff going on here, guys. Bytems just had their mainnet come out. Ontology, my goodness. Can you believe that people were airdropped 1,000 Ontology just for being part of the newsletter? That is crazy town, guys. Absolutely crazy town. Obviously, one thing to keep in mind is that circulating supply is only around 10% of the total amount of Ontology that will be available on the markets at some point. But nevertheless, Ontology is super cool. Super cool. I like what Ontology is trying to do. And of course, the NOS, the Neo operating system, ICO, coming up in the summer. Man, that's going to be one to watch out for. All these Neo-based, if you just held, like, I don't know, Neo, Ontology, Neon Exchange, and NOS when it comes out, if you can get into them, right? If you can even get into them, that's the thing. Ontology was just an airdrop, and Neon Exchange, they're doing this lottery, so I mean they were so oversubscribed, and only a very small amount of people actually got in, which is tricky. WAN chain is wow, it's just been doing awesome. It's just been doing awesome recently, and I think that's going to be another one of these ones that's going to be a multi-billion-dollar market cap coming up. You know, similar circulating supply to Ethereum. This could be a $100 coin easy by the end of the year, potentially much more in the long run. Bitcoin Diamond, that's still a thing. Can't believe that's number 36. That's crazy. Zilliqa, great. Bitcoin Private, Bitcoin with ZK Snarks. Will that be a thing? Will that really take off in the long term? Well, that's an interesting question. You know, talking to the Bitcoin Private guys, they were really cool. They're really cool, you know, and I really like that they were so open to answering tough questions and all these things. But at the same time, what will the future of Bitcoin Private be when we have so many other privacy coins already? We have Monero, we have Zcash, we have PivX, Verge, and on and on and on and they go. So we shall see what the market decides about Bitcoin Private in the long run. Decred's still hanging strong. Loopring's up big time. Very exciting, but very sort of underrated project, Loopring. I know it's worth $560 million, so it's not totally underrated. But still doing pretty well. Aeon, out of the WAN chain icon Aeon Alliance, Aeon is still the most undervalued of those. Nice little sleeper project. Matt Spoke is a super onto it dude. It was really awesome talking to him, and you kind of get the impression about a project so much when you talk to the founder and you realize what the people behind it are like. And when I talked to Matt Spoke from Aeon, I'm just like, yep, this is a solid project with solid people behind it, which is awesome, which makes me very bullish on the project. I think long-term Aeon's got some really great potentials. Digibyte, looking forward to talking to those dudes in a couple of days. Komodo, first DICO coming out here in the near future. Is credits a legit project, asks Wesley. You know, I haven't actually looked into it since I did my ICO review, really. I know that it was pretty dodgy. Somebody using a fake Yvonne on Tech account to say, yeah, I looked at their code and it was all really solid. I haven't looked into it enough to say, well, that's a non-legitimate project, but I really have a lot of suspicions about credits, and it's made me never want to invest in it, nor to recommend investing in credits, especially when there's so many other really awesome projects out there that I don't feel that way about. So, but that's just me. What are you going to do? You know, everybody will make their own decisions on what they really like, of course, in the end. PivX, only $320 million at the moment. Obviously, it gives us a $5.71 PivX, but I think this could be really a long-term stayer in the privacy coin space. Timothy Jones, Nexus is a sleeper. Nexus is good, man. I like Nexus a lot. I like the aim of what they're trying to do. I would really like to see the team grow a bit and for them to bring out some tech a bit sooner, but that's the space in general. You can't be too impatient. Good tech takes time, guys. So I'll be really excited to see how Nexus develops in the future. It's very cool stuff. Any thoughts on, where is that? Oh, missed that one. Okay. Dragon Chain, Cash. Cash has just dropped their liquid platform, I think, the other day, and this market's responded to it a little bit, but it's doing pretty good. Daz Fire asks, Lark, you like almost everything, but what do you want? Well, you see, I don't like almost everything. I talk about the stuff that I like because I don't like to, talk trash on stuff, but Lark, love your work. Just wondering if you do a video on the coins of Bitmain and why they were chosen. Interesting. I'll get back to the other question momentarily. The coins of Bitcoin have been chosen. You mean the ones that they mine, of course, because they can produce miners, and Bitmain's a company that's focused on profit, and they get in there and take that money. So that's simply a situation of Bitmain looking and going, hey, we can make a bunch of money there, so let's do it. And so they make ASIC miners in response to that. Basically, anytime they figure out how to make an ASIC for something, they make one because Bitmain makes money. That's what they do. And if they can find a way to do it, they do it. Michael H., thanks for the contribution. Thoughts on Hshare? Not really. It's one of those projects I've just never really looked into. And I know it's kind of a top 100 coin, but just never really had a chance to dig into it. What are you going to do? You can't know about them all, guys. You can't know about them all. Baba Boutte, and of course, I guess a little bit back to Daz Fire's question. Baba Boutte asking, Lark, please reveal your top 10 bags. See, everybody always wants my top 10 list or whatever it might be. I think the real question is, what is my portfolio like, and why is my portfolio the way that it is? I think that is the more important thing to be looking at here. Because I can give you all my top 5 or whatever, and basically the ones that I go long term on, I've chosen them all for a reason, and I've got my own reasons for them, and it's a very individualistic process for me anyway. I know for some people they might just go, whoo, throw some stuff out there. ONC Doc, regarding Elastos, market cap is low compared to a project like ICOS. Supply is only 5 million. Elastos has potential to be a top 10 or 15 coin. I really like Elastos. Elastos has got some awesome potential moving forward. It's great, low supply, but also a low market cap, which is what I tend to look at a little bit more, even though that cannot always be the best indicator. But yeah, I really like Elastos, what they're trying to do. Obviously, their connections are really big too. Wesley says, have you seen the new VeChain partnership? I have not seen the new VeChain partnership, but I'll have a look at it a bit later on, try and figure out what those guys are doing. VeChain partner. Partners really make it all, guys, when it comes down to it. But yes, I promise, guys, I will make a portfolio video for you one of these days. Not just saying, hey guys, look at the the coins I have, but really to talk about why I've chosen the ones that I've chosen, and the reasoning behind those coins. And look, there's coins that I do not like and I don't invest in, and never will invest in, things like Verge, Electronium, Titanium, but I don't spend a lot of time talking about them because it just gives them unnecessary advertising, I suppose, to the extent, some people say that any advertising is good advertising, but that's just my opinion. I know some people out there are really into those coins, but I've just never seen the value in them, and I've never been excited about them, so what are you going to do? Dan says, I'm 100% NEM, yet I'm missing out on opportunities like TomoChain, Proxymax. My tech knowledge is poor. Well, that's okay if your tech knowledge is poor. There's lots of opportunities out there for learning. And take those opportunities, Loon. Get out there and ask questions. We have this amazing opportunity right now with all these crypto projects. You actually just go and ask questions to the founders of these projects and their Telegram groups and stuff, which is totally awesome. A lot of people asking, Lark, thoughts on Zebi? No real thoughts on Zebi, to be honest. Haven't really looked into it. I know it was kind of trending a lot before the ICO, but I haven't really looked into it since then, to be honest, guys. Neomorphic research chip. AGI Lohi, AGI stuff. Thanks for the contribution, Blake. Okay. I want to talk about tokenizing your life. Somebody asked a great question in the comment section earlier today. And blockchain, I see that you're asking about Typerium. You missed it earlier in the chat. That's why I'm ignoring your question. I have no idea about it. I've never heard about it until you guys brought it up here. You got to remember, guys, there's 1,500 coins, and there's probably untold hundreds of ICOs at the moment. It's just impossible for any one person to keep up with all of these different things. Although I try. I really try, guys. But inevitably, a lot of them will just not get any information about them at all because I simply can't look at them all, guys. It's simply the nature of the beast when there are thousands of projects and many hundreds to thousands of more in production all the time. So What are you going to do? Tokenize your life. This was a question, but somebody asking, well, what's the world going to look like in a couple years when we have hundreds of tokens per person? Will we have a token for everything? Well, we're going to have tokens for a lot of things, and it's a good and it's a bad thing. So let me break that down. It's going to be good because all these things that previously were untokenized, things like land deeds, will be now tokenized. So that you won't have to, go to court and fight about, hey, I own this piece of land. And yeah, that does happen, even in first world countries, guys. More so in third world countries where we see a lot of corruption happening. But that'll be cool. But then also we're going to see all these different like shopping related coins, for example. And all these different projects that are really cool, but you're just going to have so many coins, potentially hundreds of different tokens. And now that might sound like something that's really going to be a pain in the butt. And of course, the MIT guys came out the other day and said, well, that might be the end of Bitcoin. Well, I don't think so either. Right now we have loyalty rewards points and discounts and coupons and all this stuff. That hasn't meant the end of fiat cash, right? Although the end of fiat currency may be brought about, or to the extent that it's brought about by cryptocurrencies, will be interesting. But that's a whole different conversation, guys. Now, universal wallets. This is what I think is going to be a big factor in the tokenize everything economy. Because when you have a universal wallet, you can have everything in one place. And so when you go on the bus and you get, a bus rewards coin for riding the bus that day, and when you go and buy your coffee, you can get a 10% loyalty reward for going to the coffee place, and then you get your salary paid into your universal wallet, and then when you go out for drinks on Friday night, you get another loyalty rewards point, and then when you come home and you watch some crypto lark on YouTube, or not actually YouTube, but a new decentralized version, well, they pay you for your attention, right? And so now you're getting some more coins coming back from that. And so now you got all these different coins, which you could spend on those individual platforms. Maybe you want to spend your coffee coin when you go back to the coffee place. Well, that's possible. Maybe you want to go and buy a computer this weekend. And so with a universal wallet, you can, especially one that has, of course, decentralized exchanging enabled. And those are coming. Those are coming, guys. Make no mistakes about it. In that situation, well, then you're going to just be able to trade out all those coins, and I'm sure that we'll get to the point where it all simply happens automatically. You make a decision when you go to the coffee place, and you'll probably just have something pop on your app saying, like, would you like to collect your coffee points, or would you like to automatically trade them for Bitcoin or Ethereum, for example? That may be indeed the situation. So you'll have a lot of these coins automatically being traded over to something that you can have a different value on. So very interesting indeed. Zach asks, have you used or known anyone that's actually used Salt lending platform, not just bought the token and speculated on the price? Yeah, I think I've talked to a few people. I haven't used it myself, Zach. I have not used it myself. Thank you for the contribution, by the way. I haven't used it myself. I know a couple people that have used it, and they're kind of like, yeah, it works, it's fine. So, but I haven't used it, and I haven't had that firsthand experience of using it. But I think if you wanted to use it, what you might want to do would be just do something very small to start with. Get yourself used to the platform. See how you go with it, basically. But I certainly like the lending platforms like Salt or like ETHLend, and I think that BitConnect really screwed the word lending platform up for a lot of people, because every time they hear, well, this is a lending platform, they think, it's BitConnect. Well, no, it's not BitConnect. Celsius Network's not BitConnect. Salt's not BitConnect. ETHLend's not BitConnect. They're cool projects where you can do peer-to-peer lending and get a loan, not give your money to some scam and get returns every day, right? KC, what are your thoughts on Blockport? Honestly, I have not looked into it enough. Again, one of those situations. So many coins, not enough time. Considering what they're doing, it's a steal, don't you think? Says KC. Interesting one. I think it's one to have a look at. I've heard a lot about Blockport, but I have never actually had the chance to look into it. Eli asks, Lark, what do you think about Genesis vision? Will it succeed long term? Co-vesting Blockport and Swissborg, I'm not going to answer them, but I'll tell you about Genesis vision. I think the Genesis vision really can succeed very good long term. They've got their alpha up and running right now. I would like to see a lot more traders in there, a lot more options to invest your money. But I think this, if Genesis vision can make it super easy, and that seems to be exactly what they're trying to do, well, just think about that for a second. Think about how many people out there just don't have the time to trade. They don't. They really just don't. Or they don't have the technical knowledge to trade. Most people are just throwing money at the market, gambling, hoping that it's going to be really cool. And that's not really the necessary strategy to making some sweet crypto gains. In fact, that's why most people get crushed in crypto, guys. So if Genesis Vision really delivers a great platform when it comes out of the alpha and we see the full version of it, that's going to be cool. I'm really excited about that. Okay, we better move on to talk about ICOs. Otherwise, I'm never going to get there. We'll talk about France. We'll talk about France tomorrow. And taxes. Okay. Let us go ahead and talk about some ICOs here for you guys. Now, 1 year after ICO Mania, these big projects are delivering, is the article headline. There are a lot of ICOs coming out all the time, guys. I get, probably 5 to 7 emails a day from ICOs. And let me tell you guys, a lot of it's rubbish. Now, I'm not saying a lot of them are scams necessarily. There are some ICOs that are straight up scams, guys. Like when NeoConnect came out and everyone's like, oh, it's NeoConnect, this is going to be the next big thing. Like, no. And then there's like ETH Connect, like, no. But people threw all their money in and, of course, got scammed, which is a problem. Now, about other ICOs, there are some ones that are, well, they're cool ideas and the team's good enough or whatever, but they're not bringing anything new, or they're just doing a money grab or whatever it might be. And so in those situations, again, you're, wow, blah, blah. But then there are some really awesome ones every once in a while that come out. Spencer asks, what about USA ICOs? That is a highly problematic situation for Americans. And I know about a third of my audience is based in the US. And so, guys, I really feel for you. It's a really tough situation that all of these companies basically cut out Americans. And there's a very few situations when you can actually get an ICO being based in the States. Dragon Chain, for example, they offer US-specific ICOs on their platform. Other ICOs, it's really just on a random basis for these utility coins. Anything that can be classified as a security basically cannot be sold to U.S. citizens. And with the recent crackdown of the SEC on ICOs, well, that's a problem because I think it makes them even more scared. Spencer, and I guess a couple other people asked about it too. Spencer says, to hell with crypto, start selling those shirts. Yeah, the red octopus shirt, man. I love this one. This is great. Got it, for anyone asking, I got it at Cosmic Corner in Wellington. Cosmic Corner in Wellington. I don't know where else you're going to find it, but that's where I found it at. But even for Americans, and I want to point this out for you guys because this is a very important thing to keep in mind. It's good to know about the upcoming exciting ICOs, guys. Typerium.io. Hello, our community bugged us to come in. Piracy is a huge problem for content creators. Well, you have a good community because they got you in, man. We're building a content creation platform, social media network, and marketplace that's geared towards the more than 2.4 billion content consumers worldwide. Cool stuff. Cool stuff, Typerium.io. Thank you very much for the contribution, by the way. There you go, Typerium.io, guys, from the horse's mouth. Now, if you are investing in ICOs, guys, that's cool. But if you can't, If you can't, the one thing to keep in mind is that a lot of these ICOs, when they come to market, as soon as they come to market, they're usually not so overinflated. Look at recently, for example, Tomo Chain. Now, Tomo Chain's up to almost $2 at this point. FOMO Chain! But when it first came into the market, it was trading on IDEX. And IDEX, if you do not know how to use IDEX, well, I'm going to be doing a tutorial here in the near future when I do my whole education course, which is coming, guys. It's a very exciting education course. Giant. It's going to be free. I really don't agree with these guys who are charging money for like 10, 20, 50, $100 to do their, education courses. I think that's crazy. It's going to be a big free course for you guys. An IDEX tutorial will be part of that, but still a few weeks to a month or two away before we see that starting to roll out. But you got to learn how to use IDEX. It's super easy. I've heard people saying, I don't know, I'm kind of scared of going over and using IDEX. I don't really... No, this is where you get new coins that have just started being able to be traded, particularly ERC20 ones, because that's what IDEX focuses on. There are going to be other situations, though, where you can get in and get those early. I know there's a lot more exchanges coming up, when we see, for example, Switch.io and Aphelion and Next come on, you'll probably be able to pick up some of those as well. Dylan LaDude in the house. What's going on, man? You'll probably be able to pick up some of those as well over there. But right now, if you want to get those early ERC20 tokens, you got to go to somewhere like IDEX or Ether Delta, because you can actually get them, even if you're American, at a pretty cheap price. And I think that's important to point out here, guys, because you can actually get in there and actually get some pretty good deals on projects. You might get it for like twice the ICO price, but if you look at something like Tomo Chain, for example, well, if you can get it 2 or 3 times the ICO price, you can still get it. And yeah, it's not as good as when you could have got it at the ICO price, but you're still setting yourself up for massive gains, because when it's only trading on IDEX, you still have huge potential. Huge potential. Lane Anderson says, check out Fork Delta. Now, okay, I promised you guys we're going to talk about some ICOs. We're going to talk about some ICOs in the last 15, 20 minutes of the show here. Cryptology says a lot of them pump and dump below the ICO price. This is true as well. It's a tough market in the ICO market. I try to find the best ICOs for you guys to present on the channel. And of the ones that I present, maybe half of them stay above ICO price, because that is the ICO market, guys. It's really tough. You got to try and get into these as early as possible. But sometimes they just explode, and that does happen too. Or things like Power Ledger, for example, it got onto the market, chilled for about a day, explosion. Tomo Chain, trading just on right now, of course, IDEX and Gate.io, so still so much potential, guys, for these projects. So don't be afraid if you're an American. Get the information, follow the community, and get ready to go in there and snipe it when it does become available. Okay, first one. Now, we're going to talk about some firsts, because we have a few different platforms that have got new ICOs coming up here in the very near future, guys. Block Nation. Block Nation is going to be the first decentralized ICO coming to the Komodo platform, which is cool. Sterling says, I've picked up good projects on KuCoin at good prices just out of ICO. That's true, actually. KuCoin is pretty good about listing very recent ICO projects, so that is pretty cool. Block Nation is going to be a pretty interesting project. I like what they're doing with the whole, events and concerts and using the bracelets and stuff like this. And also, of course, they're going to be moving on from there to do more exciting things, like international remittances and stuff. But this is the first project coming on Komodo. They have delayed the sale once. I hope they're not going to delay it again. But you never know. I know previously we had the Monese ICO, which was supposed to be the first decentralized ICO on Komodo, but didn't happen. So let's see it actually happen first. But I like the idea behind Block Nation. I like the whole idea behind the decentralized ICO on the Komodo platform. It'll be their first if it gets pulled off. Blue Whale. Now this is going to be the first one on Icon, which is very cool. Now Blue Whale wants to enable the gig economy to do more. They're, of course, going to be bringing in things like retirement funds for gig economy people, which is pretty cool. I can see a lot of synergy here already for like Blue Whale Foundation and B Token and Origin Protocol. There's going to be this whole space of projects working together to make the gig economy really a cool place, because that economy is developing massively at the moment and will continue to grow in the future. Big Bomb. This is coming, of course, with Tomo Chain. Now, token sales not starting for about a month, so you still got plenty of time if you want to get involved in this. But Big Bomb is going to be an advertising ecosystem, decentralized advertising. We're going to see a lot of those coming out. And again, it's one of those situations where people say, yeah, well, isn't like AdBank already doing decentralized advertising, right? Well, yeah, but there's going to be so much competition, guys. If you think about how many ad agencies there are out there in the world right now, there's so many of them. It's crazy. That's crazy. You know, we won't even know the names of a lot of them, but you know what? You see their products all the time. Anytime you walk down the street, you look around, oh, yeah, it's advertising. Yeah, somebody made that. And so projects like Big Bomb, a lot of potential. And of course, I think there's going to be a lot of hype around it because it is a first, and firsts always get a decent bit of hype. Next up, and this is another first, Atlas. Atlas Protocol, this will be the first one coming out on Nebulous. Again, a tokenized marketing protocol, but pretty exciting because it is coming out on Nebulous. Also quite exciting, the advisors, Hitters, of course, founder and CEO of Nebulous, but also the founder of AntShares, which used to be Neo. This guy is an absolute legend in the space. Obviously, he's going to be very involved to make sure that it comes out very well. And Andy Tian, he is the founder and CEO of Gifto. That is some serious, just those two guys, I'm not even talking about anybody else, that is some serious high-level recognition here. So we'll have to wait and see some more details about Atlas moving forward. But, you know, it's one to put on the radar, so to speak. Next up is Mainframe. Mainframe Web3 communication layer. I'm actually been doing a proper review on this for you guys today. I hope I can get it done, but we shall see, of course. But decentralized network for censorship-resistant message routing. Cool. Of course, censorship resistance is big. Look at what just happened. Seriously, to Telegram, guys. Telegram, the Russian government's trying to shut it down. And the guy from Telegram saying, well, that's fine. I'll put millions of dollars of my own money in to make sure that we can run VPNs and maintain the Telegram network inside of Russia. And I just read another article today about Iran. Iran is trying to shut down Telegram. Decentralized, censorship-resistant messaging is important, guys. We've also seen situations where, for example, during some of the Arab uprisings, they tried shutting down Twitter. In fact, I think they did shut down Twitter. It was a long time ago. I can't remember the exact details, but this stuff is important, guys. Decentralized, censorship-resistant messaging is important. And that's not just like peer-to-peer messaging either. That's a whole nother level of like, you know, actual like internet communications and stuff too. So anyway, continuing. Claros. I like this one. This is cool. This is the blockchain dispute resolution layer. Fast, secure, affordable arbitration for virtually anything. Now, this is being developed by really some, you know, like old school Ethereum community people, which is very cool. Really great minds behind the Claros project. And I just really like this whole idea of arbitration on the blockchain. It's a pretty interesting idea, of course. Really, you can incentivize people, but also the potential for a project like this to really, I don't know, create like some kind of like global citizenry, and this can be everything from like a trade dispute from an eBay sale, for example, and to maybe in the future, obviously, I have to see governments give up powers for this kind of stuff, but potentially even like civil cases or something like this as well. So, but that's a more far out utilization of Claros, but I like the idea nevertheless. Next up, DAO Stack, the toolkit for exponential organizations. This is a very interesting one coming out as well. The pre-sales openly opening up in a day. If you want to check out some more info about it, they've probably got one of the best introduction videos I've seen for an ICO. Probably since AdBank. It's not actually like a funny one, but it's just a really well produced one. A short film is probably a good description of what that actually is. But this is going to be one focused on governance. Now, the people behind it, I think, are very noteworthy here as well. Partners, Genosis, Sapien, a couple other investment firms as well. And the advisors, we've got the guy from Genosis coming on, founder and CEO of eToro as well, co-founder and ex-CEO of Divix, co-founder of mp3.com. So we've got some really great people involved with this one. It definitely makes it worth having a look at. DJ says, I don't understand. I have the bell checked for any video updates from Lark, but yeah, that's tough. There's a lot of people that don't get the bells whenever they come through, so. The crypto chiropractor, US ban for all of these, lol, seriously sucks. It does really suck. You guys can blame the SEC for that. But like I said, don't despair, guys. Even if you do like these ICOs, learn about them, get involved in their communities. There is still going to be a lot of potential, guys, to get in and actually be able to pick these up when they do come to market at a relatively cheap price, because you have to remember, guys, at one point Ethereum was worth like nothing, right? People got in, they bought it, and they held it. And there's a lot of potential for that with a lot of these new projects coming out. Like I said, there's crazy amounts of ICOs coming out every single day, guys. I'm just trying to really highlight some of the ones that I find interesting anyway, ones that I'm considering getting into, or at least think you might want to even know about existing, because this is the thing, is that there's so many of them out there and so much of it's just total rubbish, guys. At least these ones I think do have some promise. So what is this here? I've been noticing this of late. YouTubers, especially crypto influencers. Don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, moving on. FIC network, bonds on the blockchain. Bonds on the blockchain. One thing too I think is worth mentioning. I don't know what the context of that comment was, but I know a lot of people say that, well, everyone's just talking about shilling these particular ICOs and stuff like that. Well, I think one of the reasons that a lot of the good ICOs end up getting talked about a lot is because they're the good ICOs. And the reality is that even though I get approached by 50 ICOs a week, of those ICOs, only 2 or 3 of them are worth talking about. And that you got to keep that real. Most of it's rubbish out there, guys, as I mentioned earlier. So that is, I think, an important thing to remember here. So when you do see different people talking about them, well, it's because those are the good ones, and you can kind of look at them and go, well, that's the good one. Why wouldn't everybody talk about it? So next up, wait, did I mention about this? I did not. Bonds on the blockchain. I love the idea. Anyway, besides the point, let's move on to the next one. Card stack. The experience layer of the decentralized internet. I love this. I love the idea that they want to bring forward the idea that in the future, you're going to be using all this blockchain technology and not even know it, which I think is going to be a key adoption point, to be honest. And CardStack is really going to give you the tools to use all of these different technologies in a very seamless way, which I love. And the founder, Chris, is definitely super passionate about his project and a very interesting dude who really has the right vision and energy to be able to pull off an exciting project like this. Next up, Seal Network. Seal Network. Now, this is one I just did a video on yesterday. Seal Network is very cool. I can really see this getting to those kind of VeChain levels in the future. Obviously, there's a lot of competition in that particular arena, but I think these guys have got really killer connections that can make this a very interesting ICO to be involved in. Lark, do you think WAN chain is going down? well, there might be a dip here in the near future, but I think the overall trend for WAN chain is up, up, up. That's just my opinion, though. I think they've got, the right connections, the right ideas. It's a very promising project overall. It's like a lot of these ones, they really get, overall, when you find the good projects, they just keep trending. And unless, that company completely fails and stuff, and that is going to happen, guys. You have to remember, you're investing largely in companies here. When you buy Bitcoin, you're not investing in any company, you're investing in Bitcoin. But when you invest in WAN chain, you're hoping that the guys over at WAN chain are able to pull off their vision. So, bonds are highly illiquid. FIC network could be a solution and could be huge. I agree, Robert. Very interesting project, one that's definitely worth paying attention to. And you guys have been asking for it. We're going to talk about it. Quark Chain. Quark Chain. This is a highly anticipated ICO. This is being billed as, the next Zilliqa or the better version of Zilliqa, and with such a low market cap, such a low hard cap for the ICO, this is one that if you can get in, is going to potentially pop. But, of course, DYR, ICOs are a risky investment, all that fun stuff, but I like Quark Chain. I think it's going to be a very interesting project. I'm planning on dropping a review on Quark Chain for you guys probably next week. Haven't decided yet. Might be week after. We'll see. In the near future, nevertheless, before the ICO happens, you guys will have some more info on that so you can know what the heck Quark Chain is all about exactly. But this is a highly anticipated ICO. I know there's a lot of buzz already going on about this. I think when people find out more about it, there'll be even more buzz going on about it because it is a very cool ICO. Scott says, Lark, I love your videos, but I need to address how you look like someone called Clark Duke. I've never heard of that person, Scott. But interesting. There you go. I shall call Quark Chain Quack Chain to represent the ducks. Quack Chain. Funny, I think about that like every time I read this name as well. Quack Chain. Awesome. Now, guys, look, those are just ones that I think are interesting. There's a lot more other good projects out there too, and I think that's worth highlighting. I know everyone asks about, this coin, that coin, what this ICO, that ICO. I'm only one dude, and it takes a lot of time to make these videos, guys, and I love making them for you guys. But the reality is that there's so many projects coming out there. If I don't mention the project that you think is exciting, that's okay, because there's also a lot of good projects that I haven't mentioned here. But you have to be careful too, because there's also a lot of total rubbish out there, guys, and be careful of that rubbish because it is prolific. It's everywhere. And you really have to be DYORing on this, guys, because it is so important. Phaedro994Q asks, Lark, I'm a fan, but I'm just wondering, do you get paid for these or not? Good question, Phaedro. All of the projects I have mentioned today, I have not been paid to mention those during the live stream. I really want to point that out. I will tell you, though, I did do a sponsored review for Blue Whale Foundation and for Card Stack and for Seal Network. And I will be doing a sponsored review for Big Bomb. But for Block Nation, I just did a review on that because I thought it was really interesting. For Atlas Protocol, I may or may not do a review on them. I don't know. We need some more details about their token sale coming up. For Mainframe, I'm going to be dropping a review on that for you guys. That's not a sponsored review. In general, what I do for my sponsorships, I will do about half my ICO content will be sponsored. During my live streams, look, it's not to say I don't get approached. I know some other people get approached too for, kind of pimping some stuff out during their streams or whatever. That's not what I do, guys. I'm just trying to present some information here for you guys to say, hey, here's the info. Check it out. If you like it, cool. If you don't, that's cool too, guys. We're just talking about projects here, ones that you might want some information about, at least to even have on your radar, because simply finding out about these projects can be a trick in of itself, which is, of course, always a tough thing. But anyway, guys, that is all from me for today. from the Crypto Lark. I want to thank you guys so much for jumping into the chat, for answering and asking super awesome questions, guys. You know, the community in the crypto space is just, I never cease to be amazed about how much enthusiasm there is for cryptocurrencies. I love what goes on over in the Telegram, for example, as well. You know, you guys are always having great chats over there. I try to pop my head in as much as I can, and every time I pop my head in there, like, oh my gosh, there's always great conversations going on in here about people helping each other and asking questions, getting answers for their questions. So it's really cool to see that happening right above my head here in the chat. So thank you guys for joining in the stream. Come back next week. We'll be doing it all again on a different topic. And of course, talking about different cryptocurrencies, answering your questions, as many as I can anyway. So guys, long live the blockchain. And peace out till next time.